Hey, 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 there's a song today. I can't think of a song to do today. Kind of running out of fresh ideas. Any suggestions, please put it down below, either on YouTube or Facebook. And I thank you for sticking with me through this experiment. So I've done a couple of a more instructional nature. So I thought I'd do an instructional video about CAGED, C-A-G-E-D. Sorry, no fancy graphics. These things are one-offs. I have a lot of energy devoted to my day job as a teacher and of young children. So there's not much left at the end of the day to do, technology stuff. So stick with me. We'll do it old school. You just look at me and I'll look at you. I can't see you, but I can pretend. So CAGED means that there's 5 different shapes of chords, and you can use these shapes in all your playing. C-A-G-E-D covers most of the shapes. So the C shape, we know C chord. It's got 2 open notes, the open E and the open G. But you can move it with the open notes into certain frets. It's kind of an interesting D chord with a G and an E in it. That one's a little dissonant. How about this one? This is G. That one works perfectly. You can always use the pinky up down. But what we're talking about when we talk about the CAGED system is now you bar. Now I got a full D chord. See the shape, it's the C shape. D chord, E chord, F chord. So a lot of us use the F chord. Now C-A-G-E-D, the D is the last one, but actually C and D are the same shape. Just when you move C up, if you cover these, that's a D chord. Which is like this D chord that you all know. Instead of an open 4th string, you bar, and you can leave the 5th string open. But remember, when you move a chord and there's open notes, they stay the same, well, the rest of the notes change. So you're going to get some interesting, possibly dissonant sounds by leaving open notes in there, but it's worth experimenting with. That's a lot of great ideas for songs come from that. So we've kind of covered C and D, the first and last one. That's a D chord. Okay, so it's CAGED. A, you know A like this. Open E string, you can see it in the picture. Or I can bar it with my finger. Normally, you wouldn't be able to see my finger when I do it. Now, if I move A up 1 fret, it goes A sharp, or normally B flat. But how do I cover those open notes? I gotta bar them. So a lot of us that learned rock and roll think of this as more like a B flat rather than an A. We also think of it as a major chord with a root on the 5th string. I call it root 5. So that's B flat. B, C. Of course, if you're a beginner, you should always remember B and C are 1 fret apart, and E and F are 1 fret apart. All the other A, B, C, D, E, F, G letters of the musical alphabet are 2 frets apart. They're a whole step. Every fret is a half step. Cramming a lot of information in this video. Okay, so we got C, A. What's the G shape? Well, you know G chord like this? This shape? Well, when I move it up, how do I bar? So I have to kind of do this. It's very hard to bar it. But what people tend to do is bar just 3 strings. So that's a G sharp. It's an A chord with a pinky. So this is, even though it's C-A-G-E-D, this is the G. May not look like a G to you because there's your G. Use any finger, sounds the same. There's also the bottom part of the G chord. So you got that. You can leave out the first string. Right, C-A-G. What about the E? Now the E is probably the most commonly used form in just about every style of music. Horn players don't like it because of all those sharps. But guitar players love keys like E and A, the sharp keys, because we have a lot of open notes. So when you move up one and you want to cover the open strings, you have an F chord. And that's your root 6 major chord, F chord. F sharp, G, G sharp, A, B flat, or A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E. So if you play around with all 5 shapes, you can pretty much cover every major chord on the guitar. But we don't play major chords all day and night. So we learn variations of each of these, C, A, G, E, D. It takes some time. For example, let's start with C. C major. C minor. I flat the third. The third is E. C7th, I put my pinky down, and this becomes a nice movable form. D7th. And you can either alternate bass like this, or you could just leave this finger here and mute, and it's a nice jazz chord. C7, then you can get a minor 7th, a major 7th, and all the other variations. But they're all taking that basic triad and messing with it. Either sharping or flatting different notes, or adding notes like 7ths and 9ths and 11ths and 13ths. So there's something for you guitar players out there to mess with. You may have heard of CAGED and didn't know what it was about, or maybe was presented to you in a totally different way, because there's also scales associated with all those chord shapes. So if you learn the scales that go with those chords, you'll be really awesome on the guitar. And your guitar playing should be as awesome as you are, which is way awesome. And again, thank you for subscribing. We're over 200 now. And spread the word and get out that guitar and play, baby. Play, play, play. See you tomorrow.